Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. When Sri Hanumana meets Sri Vibhishana in Lanka, Sri Vibhishana shares with Sri Hanumana that he is living in a place with people that is worse than Naraka. In English, the typical definition for Naraka is hell. He describes the place and people he's living with as a kala mandali. Kala means selfishness, and mandali means a web. And he explains why. When one is in hell, one only evolves. The reason why one is in hell, one learns from that. So they only evolve. When one is in association with the selfish, one only devolves. So it is better to be in hell than to be with those who are selfish. And the more refined thought here, when one is in Naraka or hell, they feel sad. And because they feel this, they think of ways to come out of this sadness. Whereas in a kalamandali, when what I revolve around is selfish, I feel happy. Remember though, I'm tricking myself into feeling happy, so I never think about actually being happy. Such depth of thought is brilliant. I am sharing this with all of you for us to be careful about what we're doing with our lives. I'm emphasizing this more right now as we transition from chapter 1 to chapter 2, now chapter 2 to chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita. Many times I've asked all of you, before the Corona challenge began, and let's say you've been vaccinated, so the challenge is ending for you, let's say, have you become more cheerful or more cranky? Even from your last birthday to the present birthday, have you become more cheerful or more cranky? If for whatever reason the answer is cranky, I'm confident it is because of carelessness. And we have drifted and been caught in this kalamandali. Meaningful Mornings is careful. It is a community where we care fully about ourselves and others. What is Srimad Bhagavad Gita? It is Sanatana Dharma. The fabric, the essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is Sanatana Dharma, which in English means infinite nature. This is a script that if followed, one will feel their infinite nature. How is this organized? Tat Tvam Asi. The 18 chapters are organized in 3 sections. The first 6 chapters, Tvam, which means you or Prince Arjuna. The next 6 chapters, Tat, that is our potential, or Sri Krishna. In the last 6 chapters, Asi, which means are. So sharing these words in a simpler way, Tattvamasi means infinite, you are. The essence of Bhagavad Gita, infinite nature. This is organized as infinite you are. It's not just about infinite nature, it's you are that infinite nature. Within the first 6 chapters, chapter 1 has the focus of fear. Chapter 2, fearlessness. And now, chapter 3, dedication. Fear, chapter 1 is called Vishada Yoga. Fearlessness, chapter 2 is called Sankhya Yoga. Chapter 3, dedication, and you will find this out at the end of the chapter, it is called Karma Yoga. Chapter 1 of Srimad Bhagavad Gita is like a preface. This preface is for us to relate to this script. Chapter 2 is a table of contents. This is what will be shared in the further 16 chapters, because chapter 18 is a summary. The further 16 chapters. If we zoom in on chapter 2, the beginning portion of chapter 2 continues with the personalization of this script. Prince Arjuna is still justifying. He is honest about his fear, and so he tells Sri Krishna, I am your disciple. The second wave or flow of thought in chapter 2 is about the process to feel one's infinite nature. What is this process? Knowledge. Knowledge of what? No vastness. So the first science that is shared in Bhagavad Gita is Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga, which is no vastness. The third flow of thought is preparation to prepare oneself for the process. And that is the introduction to Karma Yoga, to make the mind quieter, the intellect more still. And the fourth wave of chapter 2 is peace. I am Prince Arjuna. That's the personalization. I have to prepare myself to come out of being Prince Arjuna. That's the preparation. With this preparation, I will engage in the process to know vastness. And when I know vastness, that is the last part of chapter 2, peace. There is no more doing. There's no more verbs. Peace. What are ways that we can be peace? I'm sharing this with all of you once again. Number 1, be content. Start by being content with what you have, then be content with who you are. Number 2, balanced. The one who's content is not an escapist. They engage, but since they're not dependent on what they're engaging in, they're balanced. Number 3, independent. They do not have a raga, which means a like for this or that. They're above this. Number 4, fearless. There's no bhaya. Since there's nothing to gain, there's also nothing to lose. Number 5, accepting. There's no krodha. Acceptance is so natural in oneness. So acceptance is a fine way to nurture oneness. Number 6, discipline. A lot of emphasis is shared on this in terms of sense direction. Direct your senses, or they're a weapon against you. Number 7, aware. They're not distracted, so they don't fall down this ladder. Even if you think of a typical accident, there's probably some sort of distraction there. But the more aware one is, the less accidents there are, the less mistakes they make. Number 8, they're wise. They know that peace is their being. Peace cannot be created. The word prasada, I shared many times, comes from within. Number 9, reflective. For us to be reflective, which means you have to be extraordinary. Everyone else is staying up late, you have to sleep early. Everyone else is sleeping in late, you have to wake up early. Learn from all of your experiences. And number 10, humble. They're aware of their Sadguru's hand, the Shastra's hands, Bhagwan's hand on their head. They're being guided. So there is a humility that pervades who they are. One more insight to complete chapter 2, because the beginning of chapter 3 is quite technical. There's not a lot of philosophy. When one starts to live based on these 10 virtues, what one will be doing is living for creation. When you live for creation, you can't count that I did this and I did this and I did this, because you're living for creation. As long as you are counting, I was nice to that person and I gave this to this cause, then you're not living for creation. We have to let go of this idea of reciprocity, being calculative. This is us focusing more on the quantity rather than the quality. So as you go about living for creation, which really is the creator, these 10 virtues will become natural. Reflect lots on that. Chapter 3. Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. I'll share in simple English because many of these verses in the beginning are connected. Prince Arjuna asks Sri Krishna, if you think buddhi, which means knowledge, is superior to action, that is karma yoga. Jayasi means superior. If you think the yoga of knowledge is superior to the yoga of action, tatkin karmani ghore mam, then why are you encouraging me to act? Why are you wanting me to engage in this ghora, this terrible action that is war? This is the translation. And one insight for you to reflect on leading into tomorrow, Prince Arjuna doesn't want to engage in this war. He still doesn't feel it's his responsibility. Because of this, he is misinterpreting the sequence that preparation comes before the process. He wants to ignore the preparation and go straight to the process. That's not possible. In the secular world, it is not possible in the sacred world. From inspiration to application. Your recent application was for you to love being a shishya or a disciple. Only when you love being a disciple will you reach the ends, which is to be Brahman or to be your infinite nature. As long as you don't love discipline, this is just a hypothesis. There will be no feeling behind this. Here is your application for this morning. I want you to talk to 3 people in your life who are not part of Meaningful Mornings. And I want you to ask them if they are becoming more cheerful or more cranky. Have a dialogue with them. But what's important here is, how do they know they're becoming more cheerful or cranky? Because instinctively, we're all going to say cheerful because our egos don't want to accept that maybe we're becoming cranky. So do ask them how they know this. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.